All right, guys, back on Southeastern 16 with Chase Robinson talking SEC football, specifically the Oklahoma Sooners. We get to here talk about a bit in May because, Chase, the optimism for Oklahoma. You and I were laughing. A year ago this time, there was lots of optimism from Oklahoma football fans about what the expectation would be heading into the 2024 season. And now that optimism is there again as we get ready to head into 2025 season. And, obviously, we know how last season went. If you're watching this, you're an Oklahoma fan. We don't have to tell you that. It was not what you expected. There were a variety of reasons for it. But, Chase, as you look at this team now, post-spring, and we mentioned ESPN's post-spring top 25. They had Oklahoma at 25. This is a team I think we're both very intrigued by just based on all kind of it feels like it's sort of a new era, right? You got the same coach, but when you think about, all right, you got a new quarterback, you got an offensive coordinator, these two guys know each other well. The offense last year, we know how it went, whether it was injuries, whether it was just simply inconsistent play. You couldn't get enough of those big plays. And now, when you look at just this team as a whole, I hesitate to say this, Chase, because we did it last year, but I think Oklahoma fans absolutely should be very optimistic heading into the season because I think this can be kind of the breakthrough type year you feel like they've been waiting for under Brent Venables.
Yeah, I feel like all the Oklahoma fans are they're very cautiously optimistic.
There you go.
We want to be excited. We want to be so fired up for this 2025 football season, but we remember 2024. And that was one of those years. I feel like if it could go wrong for Oklahoma, boy, did it. And it just didn't go wrong. It went south quick. And so I feel like cautiously optimistic is kind of the feeling around Oklahoma and the Sooner fans. I listened to some stuff out there. We've had Tyler McComas, Chris Plank, those guys on some of our stuff. And I listened to them those guys are deep in Oklahoma football there. And you can tell just listening to those guys and folks out there, there is a lot to be excited about of what Brent Venables has done. This is a pressure-packed year for him. If things go like they did last year, we're having a different conversation next year about Oklahoma football and who's leading the program, because I don't know if it's going to be Brent Venables. This is a huge that kind of year for Venables this year. But the fact that he went out and got Ben Arbuckle as offensive coordinator, I think, was big. And the fact that he got Ben Arbuckle's quarterback and John Mateer was even bigger. When you have those two guys who could work together, and look, Mateer, all the talk of the offseason, when he hit the portal, where's he going to go? Because he's a great quarterback, 3,139 yards last year, 27 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions. And so at Washington State. So look, I think he's a guy that you can trust at quarterback. And that's what Oklahoma needed, because they didn't have that last year. They went back and forth. Okay, Jackson Arnold started. Let's pull him out. Michael Hawkins came in. No, let's go back to Jackson Arnold. There wasn't consistency at quarterback. There was no one they felt like they could trust. They fired the offensive coordinator midseason. There wasn't a quarterback coach. Okay, now we got a guy in John Mateer. We got his old coach, offensive coordinator Ben Arbuckle. Now you're going to have some consistency at quarterback. Now, I know they had receivers out injured last year. That was a huge part of that. They had the offensive line just obliterated, especially at the beginning of the year of injury last year was the talk. But I feel like this year the pieces are there at quarterback. They've got some great guys to go around him, and kind of rebuilding the offensive line as well. And look, I really like what they've done on the offensive side of the ball. And I think, again, it starts with you go get you a good offensive coordinator in Ben Arbuckle. You get you someone you can count on, a consistent quarterback in John Mateer. And look, I think that's the recipe for good offense and excitement for Oklahoma football in a big year.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers, as we said, told the story last year, right? I mean, they were 15 out of 16 SEC teams in points per game, 24. Only Kentucky was worse last year. You look at total yards produced offensively, they were 14th. Only Kentucky and Vanderbilt were worse, even though I think Vanderbilt was okay because they still found a way to exceed expectations. But I think from that standpoint, like you said, it's not just the fact that you're bringing in a new quarterback. It's you're bringing in a new quarterback who's very skilled, who also gets to work with the offensive coordinator who helped him develop his game. And oh, by the way, that same offensive coordinator helped develop the number 1 overall draft pick in the 2025 NFL draft in Cam Ward.
Yep.
And I mean, you've talked this offseason about what Jay Knott brings to the table. I mean, think back to all the things we were talking about with Deion Burks last year at this time, and he only plays 5 games due to the injury, which, Oklahoma fans don't want to hear the I word. I mean, they're just like, we don't want to hear that at all, because that was such a big part of some of the things. And so, yes, that group you think is going to be better overall. And so, I mean, it does, like, and I know we're not really saying anything probably that's a big surprise for Oklahoma fans, but it's true. Like, just the nature of the optimism for the offense. I think that is just where your excitement is going to just go to the next level, because this does feel different. Even last year, probably this time, right? I mean, you probably had some questions, even about, all right, how does the offense unfold? Like, that was certainly something. Venables, the defensive guy, how does the offense progress? And then quickly we realized, okay, it was not going to progress to the way it needed to. But now it's like, okay, this feels different, because you do have all of these sort of dots that you can connect to say, hey, if it doesn't work with this, how can we ever think it's going to work, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly right. And again, like, what they've done, the pieces they've put together are there, and especially offensively. And I think defensively as well, it's going to be interesting to see Brent Venables kind of, I think, go more the defensive route of what he's used to as far as calling plays defensively. Like, in a big year, you tend to get your hands a little more dirty and make it more of yours. And so you can control more of what happens. And I think Brent Venables is going to and needs to do that defensively as well, with a talented roster on that side of the ball as well.
Yeah, I think so too. I think, again, especially up front, we always say that. I feel like in this league, especially, it's college football. I mean, it's football in general, but just you gotta have some dudes leading the way up front. And I feel like he's definitely put together a roster where that's kind of a given, and you feel like they're going to be certainly just fine in that area, sort of with what they're going to do up front on the defensive side of the ball. But yeah, I mean, and I think, again, look, they were 6-7 in his first year, right? Then they had kind of that first breakthrough. All right, they get to 10-3 in 2023, finish in the top 15 nationally. All right, we're moving in the right direction. And so now it's like you take that step back. You only win 2 SEC games. And you're finishing 13th in the league. I mean, it is one of those where it's like, okay, the pressure is as high as it's ever been, and as I said earlier, like, Oklahoma fans are waiting for that big breakthrough. Well, they kind of got it in 2023, but like, we know, Chase. I mean, it's like, hey, we just want to make progress as a program, but it's Oklahoma, right? I mean, we don't want to play for 15-20. Like, we want to be one of the teams, just like we always say, like, in this new SEC with Texas and Oklahoma added to the mix. I mean, all these teams want to be here, sitting here in May saying, hey, we can make the playoff. We can, compete for an SEC title. And we talked about Oklahoma's schedule, and we'll talk more about it this offseason. But I think it's just where it's a tough schedule to navigate. But I do think from this, looking at this roster, and like you said, cautiously optimistic is the phrase, but I think there is a chance that, hey, this post-spring 25 ranking by ESPN or wherever you want to put them, I mean, this team feels like it's got a lot more upside than that. And if you don't meet it, then that's where the consequences will come in probably, for the staff heading into next offseason.
Oh, yeah, I completely agree. I think that was a good place for that ranking, because I do think there's a chance that they can move up in that, like, that we can see a smaller number next to Oklahoma, which I think Oklahoma fans would love to see. And I think it could very well happen because, again, the talent they have, schedule's going to be tough. I mean, they make some tough road trips. When you look at their schedule, I know we'll break that down more, but I mean, you go to, obviously you have to go to Dallas and play Texas on the neutral field. You go to Columbia, South Carolina. You go to Knoxville, Tennessee. You go to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Those are tough road trips. Now you do get Auburn at home, and you get Ole Miss at home, and Missouri and LSU, and you get Michigan at home as well. Who knows who their coach will be, if he's suspended or not? But you get those games at home, which are good. But Yeah, it's a tough schedule to manage with some of those road trips that they have.
Yep, we'll see how it plays out for the Oklahoma Sooners. I think, again, reason for optimism for sure for this team. Keep an eye on the Sooners as we head into this offseason and into next season. We'll talk a lot more about them. As you know, here at Southeastern 16, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button as well. Get more thoughts on what Chase thinks heading into 2025 SEC football season. We'll have some member stuff coming. Join the It Just Means More tier at Southeastern 16 membership videos, SEC football, basketball, baseball. It's all there. So we appreciate you guys supporting the channel. Oklahoma fans, let us know what you think. What do you think about your team heading into next season? Are you cautiously optimistic? Is that the phrase you would use, or what else would you use to kind of give us your thoughts on your expectations? How would you describe them as we sit here in May getting ready for the 2025 season? We appreciate you guys watching as always, and we'll talk to you soon at Southeastern 16.